Individual technique work is the basis of any player development. Good technique work lays the foundation for all your future work and is an essential prerequisite to good team play, which we shall demonstrate in Programme 2. Players are encouraged to practice skills in a challenging and fun way. In this series, we hope to give you some ideas that might be incorporated into your own training programme. The drills can be adapted to suit your session objectives, the age and ability levels of your players, and the number of players at your disposal. We emphasise lots of player involvement with many touches and lots of movement. Also, the drills are very much game related. We start the skills session with the most fundamental techniques required for young players, passing and receiving. Although very basic, these techniques will be used in all football sessions and so should be practiced as much as possible and at every level and every age group. Throughout our programme, each drill opens with a graphical representation which illustrates the approximate size and setup of the practice. Players start by passing to each other in a 5-metre grid. Encourage players to be on their toes so they can quickly move into line with the ball. This will also help keep their concentration level high. It is only through well-supervised repetition that good technique develops into good habits. As a progression, the ball is now moved across the body before being played back. Numerous combinations of touch can be encouraged. For example, receive the ball with the instep of one foot and pass with the instep of the opposite foot. Control or pass with the outside of each foot. Control and pass with the same foot using different surfaces. Inside foot control, outside foot pass, and so on. Ball familiarity with lots of touches helps the player to become confident on the ball, whilst also being challenging and fun. Here you see numerous touches with the instep. Various touches are encouraged using different surfaces of the foot. The player here is comfortable using the sole of the foot to drag the ball in one direction and then the other before making the pass. The players now use a wider grid and one player moves in and out whilst playing the ball to the other. Players learn to appreciate weighting the pass as distances are constantly changing. The ball can be kept on the floor to start and then lofted to a partner. One-touch play is encouraged, developing good habits for young players who become confident and totally natural when making a pass. Using the same size grid, players now pass and move into the next grid. This encourages movement to get into line with the ball before the player makes a pass. The players rotate after a set time or set repetition. In a game situation, most passes will be made whilst on the move, and so once the basic passing technique is okay, allow players to progress to include this movement. Players in pairs set each other up for a long pass and keep moving, short pass, long pass, move. This move encourages players to take the weight off long passes, tidying up for a teammate to be able to choose his passing or shooting options without the need to worry about controlling the ball. This has been done for him. Once the basic technique is mastered, a defender can be introduced. This makes the practice more realistic and game-related by putting pressure on the player in possession. Players learn to play with their heads up and be more alert. Players are encouraged to be clever on the ball and use their body action to disguise their intention. The defender here is passive. He is encouraged to close down play but not actively win the ball. We call this drill miss a man. Following an initial 1-2, each subsequent pass is made to miss the next player, who must turn to collect the ball from the player receiving the pass. The sequence is basically short pass, long pass, and can be carried out with any number of players in a line. End players play a 1-2 before the miss a man sequence is repeated. The miss a man drill encourages good body stance, helps passing and receiving technique, and also player concentration. This sequence is ideal for part of your pre-match or pre-session warm-up. This is the same drill, but this time the end players constantly rotate positions after their second pass. To relate this to a game situation, good support and rotational play is encouraged between defence, midfield and forward players. Players are now forced to receive the ball by coming off at an angle and not moving straight towards the ball. The ball is played back to the serving player. The move replicates the way players can come off their markers. In a match situation, angled runs will unbalance a defence. Runs to receive passes straight toward the passer are easily dealt with by defenders. The player now receives the ball on the half turn and passes to the opposite end player. This open body stance will help players later on be aware of defenders' positions, create space and shield the ball. Again, it is the movement of the receiving player that is important, at an angle to the passer, not straight towards him. Two teams of 3 players pass the ball between themselves. The third pass must go to the opposite side. 2 balls are used in this practice, which increases player concentration levels. Players are encouraged to look before playing their pass to the opposite side. Thus, timing as well as pass quality is now being learnt. Players are constantly on the move and well-weighted passes are important. Sometimes, the receiving player can allow the ball to run across his body whilst looking up to assess his passing options. Again, Once the correct technique is okay, 2 defenders are introduced and only 1 ball is used. The practice is more realistic and game related. Players are encouraged to play the ball forward at the earliest opportunity. The 2 defenders each stay in their half, and so there is a 3v1 situation in both zones. Once again, the defenders start passively and later on are encouraged to attempt to win the ball. Players are encouraged to use any surface of their foot to play an accurate pass into the opposite zone. Dummies, disguises and quality penetrating balls will all be used by the players in possession.